I'm Caitlin, an artist with Embroidery Library. I want to show you a cute way to dress up your tea towels with an embroidery design, fabric prints, and triangles like bunting. I'll begin by planning where to stitch the design. I'm using a template, which is a printout of a design. I want to place the template so the bottom is 7 inches up from the edge of the towel and centered between the sides. After I have the template in the right spot, I mark the center point and the vertical and horizontal axis lines. Hoop the towel with a piece of cutaway stabilizer, lining up the marks on the towel with the marks on the hoop. Attach the hoop to the machine and load the design. Move the hoop so the needle is right over the center point. Embroider the design. I use a size 11 or 75/11 embroidery needle when I stitch on tea towels. Those tomatoes are really going to brighten up the kitchen. After embroidering, trim the excess stabilizer away from the back. I leave about 1/2 inch around the design. That looks great! Now I'll work on the fabric pieces for the bottom. Put 2 pieces of quilter's cotton together and cut into 3.5 by 3.5 inch squares. Pin together and sew a 1/4 inch seam along 3 of the sides, leaving one of the sides open for turning. Turn right side out. Fold the fabric of the open side in a 1/4 inch and press. And press the seams. Top stitch a 1/8 inch seam around the entire square. Then cut the square in half diagonally. Repeat this to make a total of 7 triangles. You can alternate colors of quilter's cotton like I did. Next, I'll cut a piece of quilter's cotton to go across the towel. I want it to be 4.5 inches tall and the width of my towel plus 2 inches for a seam allowance. The towel that I'm working with is 18 inches wide, so the fabric that I've cut is 20 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. Align the bunting pieces along the top edge of the fabric, overlapping each triangle by 1.25 inches and leaving 1 inch openings along each side. Pin in place. Sew a 1/8 inch seam along the top edge. Next, cut another piece of quilter's cotton to the same width as before. This one is 20 inches. But make the height only 3 inches tall. Place that on top of the bunting, right size facing, aligned with the top edge. Pin in place. Sew a 1/2 inch seam along the top edge. Press the seam. Top stitch a 1/8 inch seam along the bottom edge of the trim. Press all sides of the fabric piece 1/2 inch to the wrong side. Place the fabric piece on the towel 1 inch below the design. About 1/2 inch of the bottom of the towel will show. Fold the sides of the trim 1/2 inch over the sides of the towel and pin in place. Cut a piece of bias tape maxi piping the same size as the trim. Tuck the piping under the trim and pin in place. Sew a 1/8 inch seam along the top, side, and bottom edges of the fabric. And that is adorable! It's fun to experiment with different fabric prints and colors to match designs. On this example, I used a howdy design and found Western prints to use. And it's never too early to make gifts and decorations for Christmas. Thanks for watching today. For machine embroidery designs and creative ideas for using them, visit our website, www.emblibrary.com.